Today, the 24th of March, marks a year since India's nationwide lockdown. Last year, the country went under a strict COVID lockdown on this day when just around 525 positive infections had been detected. A year on, we've had over 1 crore 17 lakh cases of coronavirus and are now facing what many believe is a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Over the last few days, we've been reporting over 40,000 cases every day. But now the bigger worry is whether it's mutant variants of coronavirus disease that are leading to the spike in cases. The government has confirmed that indeed a novel variant of the coronavirus has been found in India, has been detected through its analysis of positive cases. The government, however, says that variants don't explain the rapid rise in the cases. A new double mutant variant has been found. One variant has been found in Maharashtra, another in Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. There's also the presence of the UK, South Africa and Brazil strains of coronavirus. They have been found in 18 states so far. So 1 year on, we're facing possibly a second wave of coronavirus and now worries over the variant also being found in the country. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Dr. Sushila Kataria, Senior Director, Internal Medicine, Department Medanta, the Medicity. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. And I'd like to tell our viewers, Dr. Kataria is someone who was involved, in fact, in treating the first big cluster of coronavirus cases that had been found in India among Italian tourists. Doctor, it's been a year on where, this is the anniversary of the coronavirus lockdown that the country had faced, and now the news coming in that the government has confirmed that indeed there are variants in the country as well, not just the South African, UK and Brazilian ones, but they've just confirmed that there's also another variant. There's a double mutated variant and all, but this is something that many of you experts did suspect, that there would be another variant developed in the country itself, given that the coronavirus has been here for so long.
Yes, so mutations keep on happening in the virus. Any virus which replicates too fast, mutations keep on happening, and the mutations are not big an issue as long as they are minor mutations. But when too many mutations club together, then it may become either more infectious or it may become more virulent. Sometimes it may become less virulent also by way of mutation. So as long as the virus is circulating in community, mutations are bound to happen, mutations will happen. This all depends on how aggressively we are checking for mutations and genetic or molecular mapping is being done. So I'm not surprised with the mutations, but as long as the mutations are not too many, the vaccine would still be effective. If too many mutations accumulate, then it would be a problem. So only way to get rid of mutations is getting rid of the virus. As long as you let the virus circulate in the community, mutations will happen.
Right. And Doctor, the government, however, according to our sources, is claiming, but this is not leading to this surge in cases that we're seeing. We've been reporting over 40,000 cases of COVID every single day over the last couple of days. And many of experts are describing this as now we're staring at the second wave of COVID in the country. We're seeing what's happening in other parts of the world with these variants, spreading very rapidly. But the government so far maintaining that this, surge is not being caused by the variants.
Yes, most of the cases which they're testing about 1% of the samples and finding that majority is still the novel coronavirus which was initially there. But it is only a matter of time when the variants can also outnumber the novel coronavirus. So it is just a matter of time, and whether variant is there, the way of stopping it is the same, and the treatment continues to be same. And so far, fortunately, the vaccine also remains the same, but we'll have to see, time only will tell.
Right, and the only way to get ahead of these rapidly spreading infections is through the vaccination process. And welcome news that now 45-year-olds will also be able to access the vaccines.
Yes, that's a good news. I think the government has taken the right step right now, because it's not an option to go in lockdown again, because initially we had the liberty to go in lockdown and curb it initially, but now with so much of already undergone, we do not have the option of going into strict lockdown. So only way is COVID appropriate behavior and rapid and fast vaccination of the population, because the benefits of vaccination you will only be able to see after 6 weeks. So I think government has taken a right step, and I would say one step further. If the supply of vaccine is sufficient, Let all the adults take it, whoever wants it. But I think that would take some time, because the government has to ensure proper supply of both the doses for the vaccination.
Right. Doctor, well, we do have some questions from our viewers. So let's just listen into that first question from a young boy.
Good afternoon, doctor. I'm Ronak Kumar and I wanted to know that when will we get more vaccines and will we able to choose our vaccines then? Thank you.
So when will our vaccine kitty increase?
Oh, that's a very, very wonderful question the boy has asked. I think he wants to ask when would he have a vaccine for the pediatric population. So so far below 18 years, none of the COVID vaccines have been approved. There have been trials for 4 candidate vaccines in pediatric population, starting from age 6 years to 18 years of age. So whenever results are available for safety and efficacy, it will be given to children. When they'll be able to choose, once it is sufficient in supply and it is available in the market, yes, people will be able to choose it. But right now, we have only 2 vaccines in India. That's for adult population above the age of 45 years or for some special categories. And right now, we can't choose.
Right. Well, let's just listen into the next question.
Hello, doctor. I'm Sheetal from New Delhi. My question is, can you still transmit COVID after being vaccinated?
All right, this question we get a lot, doctor.
Very, very intelligent question that is. And the answer to that is, unfortunately, yes. If somebody has been vaccinated, there is about 4 to 10% people who can still get infected with COVID infection, and they would have mild to moderate infection only. And yes, once you can get infected, you can have it in your oropharyngeal secretions, you can still transmit it to others. So even after vaccination, both the person who's been vaccinated and not vaccinated, please observe COVID appropriate behavior. There is a talk that once if we come with nasal vaccines, this spreading potential after vaccination will be much less.
All right, so that's something to look forward to. Thank you so much, Dr. Kataria, for taking out time and speaking to us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Gargi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, the other big focus on the show, worrying research in the UK is suggesting a link between coronavirus and diabetes. A team of researchers from the King's College London and Monash University has created a database of information that relates to COVID and type 2 diabetes. And their research has shown that people with type 2 diabetes are more likely to suffer severe symptoms of the disease. They've also claimed that there's mounting evidence suggesting that COVID could actually cause people to become diabetic. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined now by Dr. V. Mohan, Chairman and Chief Diabetologist, Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialty Center, and Shubha Bhanot, Chief Diabetes Educator, Max Healthcare Max Healthcare Hospital. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. Dr. Mohan, first to you, very, very concerning the findings of this research, a link possibly that, coronavirus could lead to diabetes.
Let me explain it. So when COVID came, and with it before that, even the lockdown itself increased the risk of diabetes, because it's very simple. People get scared, their stress goes up, their depression level goes up, then they can't exercise properly, then they're eating unhealthy food, they put on weight. All these are risk factors for diabetes. So this we knew for some time, that diabetes can be produced by COVID. And then one more thing which happened is that you give steroids. When you have very severe COVID, steroids are given, and steroids kind of shoot up the blood sugar levels. I've seen many cases of steroid-induced diabetes coming after the COVID. Now this COVID registry which has been set up was to study, I'm also part of it actually, King's College Hospital, Dr. Rubino, and we have from Monash University, Dr. Paul Zimmet, both are colleagues of mine, and I am very much representing India in that registry. And we have contributed many cases to that registry already, about 8 to 10 cases of new onset diabetes after COVID. Following all the criteria from our center, we have actually put into the registry. Overall in the world, at last count, about 600 odd cases of new onset diabetes are already there in the registry, and the number is growing. Now, what is new is what you pointed out. The registry has been there, but the registry is trying to find out whether COVID actually produces diabetes, not by stress or depression or anxiety or other things, or by not eating properly, but by going and damaging the beta cells. Till now, it was only a theory, but just as of last week, the first experimental evidence has been shown. This is published in Nature Medicine, where they have shown the virus inside the pancreatic beta cell. So the pancreatic beta cell in the pancreas has certain receptors, the ACE2 receptor and the TMPRS receptor. Now to that, the COVID virus can go and the coronavirus can go and attach itself. And they've actually shown two things. One, they've shown inside the beta cell, the virus actually there. And they also showed that if you give drugs like remdesivir, which is used to treat the COVID, then the amount of destruction of the beta cells is actually less. And in cases where it was not given, and they also done autopsy studies. In those who died, 3-4 cases, they took their pancreas out, and within the pancreas, they're able to show the virus actually sitting inside the pancreas. So there is proof that yes, it can produce, but I don't think that's the commonest cause of the diabetes. The commonest cause is still steroid induced, because so much of steroid is given that the number of cases, but there could be a small fraction of those cases which is actually produced by damage to the beta cells by COVID itself.
All right, Shubhda Bhanot, what has the experience been, at Max Healthcare, and what sort of advice do you give patients who have recovered from coronavirus, also those who have diabetes already?
So we have to understand that people with diabetes, they experience more severe symptoms of COVID-19. And in the study that we published in December, we had seen that 50% of people who had pre-existing diabetes, and there were 21 patients who got, new onset hyperglycemia. We saw that the patients who had diabetes, who had pre-existing diabetes, we saw that they required prolonged stay in the hospital. There were more ICU admissions of the people who had diabetes. They required oxygen. The mortality rate was also more, even with people with hypertension. So the advice that I would like to give to people who have diabetes is to please manage their diabetes and hypertension. Go visit doctors. Do not miss their medications. If the vaccination is scheduled, please take your vaccines. Don't be scared of taking vaccines. Regular exercise, healthy diet. And if you have recovered from COVID-19 and if you have diabetes, please make sure that your diabetes is still under control. You're visiting your doctors, you're getting your complications checked, and you are monitoring your sugars, and you're taking your diabetes medications. And moreover than that, you're taking your diet very, very carefully. You're taking your diet which builds your immunity, proteins, calcium, vitamins, antioxidants, all in place, because the vaccine is here, but the scare is still there. COVID numbers are increasing, and we have to be really, really careful here.
So
and
we have to remain alert.
To be done.
Right. Dr. Mohan, I want to ask you, those who don't have diabetes but have had COVID now and are watching right now and are concerned about this, what do they have to look out for?
If you really don't have diabetes, the overall, as Shubhda said, the severity, the morbidity, the mortality is much lower in people without diabetes. Of course, you could have other things like hypertension, heart disease, respiratory disease, which also makes up. But if you don't have any of that, you're a healthy person. Mostly like a common flu, or even without any symptoms, it disappears. But having said that, again, COVID comes into play here, because if you have, say, pre-diabetes and you are on the verge of becoming diabetic, then this COVID acts as a kind of trigger. Any trigger is enough to push you into diabetes. And here you're sitting on the wall, ready to jump into the diabetic side or to the normal side. And COVID just comes and gives you that little push and makes you diabetic. But the good news is that, again, if you look after your diet, exercise, if you're overweight, lose weight, perhaps you can revert and go back to normal, unless the COVID has damaged your beta cells permanently. That doesn't seem to be the case. We have, with Dr. Anup Mishra and myself, we published a major paper on all the new onset cases after diabetes in India. And it looks as if it's just a worsening. What we did is we compared last year's cases with the previous year's cases, just to see. And we found it is all higher. HbA1c is higher, sugar is higher, but we didn't find the C-peptide, which is a measure of pancreatic insulin secretion, that didn't go down so much, like as if the beta cells have all been damaged. So that's good news as far as India is concerned, but we still have to study it. When the registry is totally analyzed, we will know how many cases actually were produced by damaging the beta cells.
All right, and diabetes is anyway such a big worry in our country. It's a ticking time bomb, as you doctors say again and again. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohan and Shubhda, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
Well, with that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll take a look at the latest COVID numbers in the country. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, let's now take a look at the latest COVID data that has been released. And today, India has reported daily cases of 47,262. Today is the anniversary of the coronavirus lockdown that took place a year ago. And that time, we had only 525 cases. 1 year later, we have 1,17,34,058 cases. So a big worry. And many believe India is now staring at a second wave of coronavirus. Now, if we take a look at top 5 states, well, Maharashtra remains the big worry, reporting over 28,699 cases, as you can see there. Then there's Punjab, Karnataka, Kerala, Chhattisgarh as well, and Maharashtra really leading this surge in the number of cases. If we take a look at the number of deaths, 132 deaths being reported by Maharashtra, 53 by Punjab. That's also seen an increase in the number of cases. Chhattisgarh, Kerala, and then Tamil Nadu. Let's take a look at that curve of daily cases, and this was when we were at our peak here in October, and then since then the cases have been coming down steadily, as you can see, the curve going downwards, but here again it's rising sharply over here, and the cases have been going up since March, in fact, since the end of Feb and March, and now we're seeing the cases being reported over 40,000 every single day, and that's a big worry. So what the other issue that is a worry is the R factor. Now, what is the R factor? And R factor is a measure of how many people are infected by one person being infected. And this R factor in India had come down. But just take a look now what the situation is. 4 weeks ago, it was 1.06. But now it is at 1.35. That means each person is infecting more and more people. And that is a big worry, because when your R factor starts going up, that is something that is monitored in all the countries around the world to ensure that the situation is under control. And as you can see, the R factor has been coming up steadily from 1.06. A week ago it was 1.18, and now it is at 1.35. So take a look at how the R factor, how the curve goes, and here you can see back in April it was this high. And since then, the R factor had been going up and down, but it had come down significantly. In October, our R factor came down here. But once again, it's on a rise. And just take a look. Right now, it is at 1.35. So that is a big worry. And that's an indication of how the infections are growing and how each person is infecting more and more people. Let me just zoom that in for you so you can just see, take a look at that curve. And there you can see the R factor and how it's been rapidly rising, and now we're at 1.35.